Christian Holthausen is Director of International Sales and Communications at Champagne et Lenoble, and he joins us now from Damery in France. Thank you for your time. I know that you are, relatively compared to some other champagne producers, a smaller producer of this drink. Can you just tell us what the impact has been over the last 9 months?
Well, I think it's fair to say that 2020 has definitely been interesting, to say the least. I don't think that we would have been able to predict this anywhere. In Champagne, we have to remember that we're very, very patient in our nature. We bottled our 2019 vintage about 3 months ago. That will be released in 10 years' time. We're also very resilient, everything from Attila the Hun in the 5th century, the Prussians in the 19th century, 2 world wars, several financial crises. We have survived that and will survive this as well. It's important for us to be patient, think long-term, form coalitions with our neighbors and with other people. Sales have been challenging in some parts of the world. I think we're seeing a real move to home consumption. There's a lot more people consuming champagne at home on a Tuesday evening to celebrate perhaps homeschooling their 2 children or being in confinement with their partner all day, which they weren't used to, as opposed to New Year's Eve and weddings and things like that. So champagne consumption has been moved into a much more intimate space, and much more of a home space. People just taking joy in simple pleasures by drinking champagne in more relaxed situations.
Do you think, despite saying that, champagne could still do with a little bit of a PR change, though? Because I still really associate champagne with celebrations and weddings and those large-scale events, or celebrating a job promotion, and we've just had less of those over the last year. Do you think it needs a little bit of an image change?
I mean, I think that our greatest strength and our greatest weakness in Champagne has been that we are the king of wines and the wine of kings. Our very first king of France, Clovis, converted to Christianity in the 5th century. Every king had to receive the crown in Champagne. So we've only been sparkling for wine for a few hundred years, but we've always had this celebratory kind of thing, which has been a strength and a weakness. I do think that champagne is the most joyful wine to drink. It's the most joyful way to experience wine. It doesn't have to be just for celebrations. I think for a long time we thought of champagne as just celebratory. There's many parts of the world where people buy 1 bottle of champagne a year and it's on New Year's Eve. I think what we're starting to see in markets like France and Italy and Sweden and Japan is people are consuming champagne as a wine much more frequently. At the dinner table in the evening, served with many different courses, and that's a real change in behavior, certainly over the last few centuries.
Thank you very much for speaking to us, Christian Holthausen, Director of International Sales and Communications at Champagne et Lenoble. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.